Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, yeah. Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Greetings, welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host, and today my very special guest is Miss Quia Atkinson, the owner of QZ Design Gallery. Welcome, Quia.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure.
I am so excited.
Yeah, so good to have you here.
Yes.
And so you came to Tallahassee to attend FAMU, graduated with which degree?
Healthcare management and a minor in military science.
Okay.
Since I was in Army ROTC and reserves prior to that.
All right.
Yeah.
And so you were planning on being a career?
Yes, I was planning. The plan was to be an officer.
A career officer.
In the Army, and then, I ended up having medical issues with my knees. I'm like, thanks, Mom, because I get my knees from my mom. And so, everything changed after that. I kind of had to find a different path, and, I graduated in 03 and had my son, got married, and I kind of was, all over the place. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. My path was supposed to be military.
Yeah.
And after that, I just, I ended up working for the state. I ended up, actually designing kitchens, selling granite. I did literally a little bit of everything. But I really think my creative juices really started flowing when I worked for the granite company. I was there for probably about 5 or 6 years, and I was able to kind of, help people design their bathrooms, their homes, color coordination, just everything. And I'm like, I really like this creative side. I hadn't had a chance to kind of nurture that. But I had a little bit of chance after graduation, so yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah,
for sure.
Indeed. So QZ Design Gallery is your business where you do some of this work that we see here. Yes. So tell me how you've already kind of mentioned it. Like when you mentioned working with the granite, I can see elements of that in the work that you do. So how did you get started, like your first piece in terms of your creation?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so QZ Design Gallery was birthed in 2016. And, I had gotten married. I got divorced after 13 years. And so that whole life change was a huge catalyst for me to just do something different.
Yeah.
I had always been kind of a creative, and, even as a little girl, I was, very creative. But after that, I was like, I need to do something for myself. I need to just fill my time and, just kind of reinvent myself.
Yeah.
And so I decided to start painting again.
Okay.
And I wasn't, thinking about starting a business at all. I was just like, I just need to paint, I need to create. And so I sold my first painting in 2016 before I started the business.
Okay.
And so, there was a local collector here in town. He bought my painting, and he bought it for like over $400. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, well, maybe I should start a business. I'm like, if I can sell, if I can paint something and actually sell it like this, and I was on my own for the first time in a long time.
Right.
And so I'm like, I have to do something, just to, I need it to feel better. It was a really rough time. And painting for myself, it was therapy for myself. It was a way to kind of get away from just everything happening, and I dove into it. And I never would have imagined that it would have blown up like it did.
Yeah.
So I did the first painting, sold it. Then after that, I said, I need a name for the business.
Okay.
Like I already know myself, and I get tired of something very quickly, which is why it's named QZ Design Gallery, because that encompasses all kinds of things. I didn't want to just say, QZ art, because I'm like, I'm going to sell more than art. I just know myself.
Okay.
And so we named it QZ Design Gallery. My best friend Olivia did all my logo, my website. You know, she kind of helped me along that journey, getting it started. And then shortly after that, I went into doing home decor. And so right now, I probably do more home decor than I do art. You know, the seasons kind of change. You know, sometimes it's all art, sometimes it's all home decor. But right now, home decor is just really big, just, you know.
And tell me about some of the home decor items that you create.
Yes, so a little bit of everything. I started with coasters, and then I kind of moved on to cheese boards, and now I'm doing my own luxury trays where I actually, you know, take raw pieces of wood. You know, I cut it with a jigsaw. I work with a lot of resin, mixed media embellishments, glass, crystals, things of that nature. And so really, I can honestly do anything. So, you know, the resin, the embellishments, they can go on anything. So I have people give me old furniture. Wow. They'll give me like a tray that's been in the family for a long time. And they're like, you know, can you do something with this? And so I'm able to kind of like restore certain things and, you know, also, you know, do a lot of handmade items as well.
Yeah.
So, but the trays and the cheese boards are probably the most popular for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What's been one of the more interesting creations that you've done with the home decor?
Oh gosh. Now the largest tray I've ever done is owned by Michelle Mitchum.
Okay.
So she commissioned that a couple years ago, and she's like, I want something that, you know, how she's just, you know, I want something fabulous, and I want it to be like 3 feet across. Yes, Miss Glam. And so that was a really cool project, you know, because I had to get the wood cut and I had to find the right handles. And she was very particular with the colors that she wanted. And from creating that tray for her, I probably have recreated that tray maybe 50 or more times.
Wow.
Those colors that she chose, just, you know, it just took off.
It resonated with folks.
Yes, it resonated with folks. So I was like, you started something. So yeah, that's, you know, that was probably one of the first luxury trays I did. And I, you know, oh my gosh, you know, I do a range of colors and handles. Everything is fully customizable with what I do, which is what I love.
Nice.
You know, everybody has different tastes, and, you know, you kind of get a little bit of people's personalities when you talk to them and they commission something, even if it's as small as coasters.
Right.
You know, it's pretty exciting being able to work with so many people.
Which I'm about to get my CWN coasters done. But
Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready for you.
Okay, cool. So when you do your art, how does it make you feel? I mean, you talked about when you got started, you needed to feel better, and it was like therapy for you.
Yeah.
But now that you have launched this business and are doing this full time, right?
Yes, it's been almost 8 years, and so it's you know, sometimes it feels like, you know, I don't ever want it to feel like I'm running like a factory, you know, and sometimes the orders just get so much to where I'm like, you know, I'm just head down creating.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's some projects to where it's like, you know, just creating the same thing over and over again. But then, you know, every now and then I get a client who's just kind of throws me off track and is like, I want this. And I'm like, I've never done that before. Like, and I love those types of projects.
Do you?
I love
when it pushes you.
Yes. It pushes my imagination, my creativity. Sometimes I have to go out and just, you know, I have to start experimenting with something that I've never experimented with before. And so, so that's always exciting. So I really, you know, it's been 8 years, but I absolutely love it. I lose myself in it. You know, thank God that my husband is very aware of like whether I have eaten or not eaten, because I will be in the garage. That's my studio.
Okay.
I'll be in the garage for literally 8 hours straight. And he's like, you haven't drank any water and you haven't eaten any food. Like, you need to stop. I'm like, I'm in the middle of pouring. I have to watch the resin. Like, the resin has to be babysat.
Right.
Anybody who has worked with resin before, you don't pour resin and leave it. You cannot do that. So you have to sit there and watch it, and you're adding heat, and you're like picking out dust. And I mean, it's a whole entire thing. And so I'm like, you know, I'm going to be here for the foreseeable future. So I will see you, I don't know, the wee hours of the morning. I don't know. But it's, but I love it. You know, once I get into it, it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like, you know, like God's creativity is just flowing through me. Nice. And I'm just like, I feel blessed to be able to, you know, create something out of nothing. Yeah. You know, so that's pretty awesome.
Well, that's what you want. You want to do something that you feel so passionate about that you would do it if you weren't getting paid for
Right,
it.
exactly.
Like you said, you just feel like God's spirit or inspiration is flowing through you to get the work
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
That's
I know
beautiful.
my friends and I joke, and they're like, what would you do if you won the lottery? Like, $15 million, would you still do art? And I'm like, yes. I mean, what else would I do? Like it doesn't matter, how much money or what I'm doing, like I have to create.
Nice.
It's a part of me. It's something I have to do. And, even if I'm not creating for somebody, I'm creating for myself, So, like most artists, we probably have 1,000 supplies in our studio that will probably never be used.
Right.
We just keep buying stuff, and I'm like, I have all of these things. I'm like, I have a new project I'm going to do. And I'm like, okay, I said that 2 years ago and I still haven't started on this project. It's our brains just, we just keep going and we just want to keep trying new stuff.
Absolutely.
And so, that's, creative for you.
Nice.
For sure.
Now, what was it like for you starting a business and going full time with it?
Oh my gosh. It's very daunting. It's it definitely takes stepping out on faith. And when I first started, I was struggling a lot with kind of putting myself out there. And I'm thankful that I had people around me to kind of push me to. They're like, you keep saying no to things. People keep asking you, show your art here, come to this event. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. And I remember a while ago when Chef Shack had won the Food Network Chopped, yes. And that's, in my mind, that's a pivotal moment because I was saying no to a lot of things up until then because I was just, having this inward struggle of like, am I really an artist? Do I really see myself that way? And so, my husband now, I was dating at the time, he was like, you need to stop saying no and you have to start saying yes. He was like, people will stop asking you if you keep saying no.
Sure.
And so I said, okay, fine. Like, I'll go to the, it was her opening for, she had the watch party.
Right.
And I went and I ended up selling a painting there. And
I remember that.
And yes. And after that, I started saying yes to everything. And that changed my whole entire business.
Wow.
It changed my life.
Yeah.
So just having the mindset of saying, I'm going to accept the opportunities that God is giving me and not shy away from them, say yes to it, and saying yes just opened up a whole entire world. Nice. It's like once I said yes to her, then I said yes to the next person. It's like a snowball effect. It's like, then I was like, oh my gosh, like there's all these things. I can't possibly do all of them. But, it was exciting. It was kind of crazy. Like, God was like, this is your blessing season. I'm trying to give it to you. You just have to have faith and, put yourself out there. And I did. And I'm so glad I did.
Accept it and walk in it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Wow. That's wonderful. That is absolutely wonderful. So you mentioned your husband, your family, you have a son and a daughter.
Yes.
Do they do art with you?
Okay. So yeah,
or are they like sick of you?
Well, my son is the artist.
Okay.
Now he doesn't do I'm very abstract. My son is more, he can sketch people, and I wish I had his talent. Okay. And he's not big on kind of showing his art. But I have pages and pages and pages. He can just sit and draw anything. And, the shadowing, he can draw the hands. Like he's, I feel like he's like a true artist. I mean, I'm an artist, but I'm like, he just has this, talent that is, not learned. I feel like mine was definitely learned, learning how to use the chemicals and the resin and, there's a creative aspect with it as well.
Yeah.
But with him just being able to just, draw something, I'm like, that's like, I feel like you either have that or you don't. Yeah. I mean, you can up your skill, but you have to have something innate in you. And so he's my artist.
Gotcha.
And he's the one he'll help me. He'll help me watch the resin and he'll be like, can I touch it? I'm like, it's still wet. Stop. He always wants to touch everything. Can I touch it? And do not touch that.
Just like kids.
Yes, I know. He's 20. Okay, so he should, yes.
Yeah, no, it's okay. He still wants to touch it.
Yes, he still wants to touch it. But yeah, so he's my artsy one. But yeah, I have a son, I have a daughter, and I have a stepdaughter. And I'm definitely blessed. They're all amazing, amazing kids. Yes, and they're very supportive.
That's good.
They're really happy for me. My son's always like, yeah, my mom's been in a magazine. I'm like, you don't have to tell people that, like, when you meet them.
proud of you.
He's really proud of his mom. And my daughter's just like, James, really? Like, oh my gosh. But yeah, funny. I love them.
Yeah, nice.
They're something else.
Now, are there any mediums that you like to work with that you haven't?
Oh my goodness, that I haven't. I really would love to do watercolor.
Okay.
And I would love to try oils. You know, I think I dabbled in oils maybe a couple of years ago, and I was like, this is difficult. Like, it's just, you know, I couldn't get the feeling of it. And so, you know, I'd love to like take some watercolor classes, some oil painting classes, and, you know, kind of go from there. You know, I'm always like looking to kind of expand, you know, what I do and into some different mediums. So yeah, those two are definitely an interest to me.
Now, speaking of classes, you also teach classes.
Yes, I offer classes.
Okay.
Right now, the most popular classes are the cheese board classes.
Okay.
So, you know, I have groups that come, and, you know, I hold the smaller groups at my home, and then the larger groups, I will go to conference rooms or people's homes. I set up, I clean up.
And when you say small group, tell me approximately.
About like 9 people.
Okay.
It's like a small group.
Gotcha.
I mean, I've taught as little as one person, you know, 2 people. But it's, they have so much fun.
Yeah.
You know, I've had bachelorette parties and, you know, they bring a whole spread of food. I offer the wine. You know, every class comes with wine, of course. And you have to sip something while you're painting, obviously. But, you know, it's just, it's really nice to see people come in and believe that they're not artistic. And I'm like, everybody has some kind of creativity in them. If you don't, even if it hasn't been tapped into, you have something there. And so you have the people who are like very rigid and type A, and they're like, I'm not gonna be good at this, mine's gonna turn out awful. And lots of times, theirs is the best.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, just try it. I'm like, there's no way you can mess up by, you know, pouring resin. It can always be fixed. You know, that's the thing I love about resin. It's unforgiving, but it's also forgiving. You know, you can sand it down, you can start over.
Yeah.
And so I definitely have like a love-hate with it for sure. And I used to work with one resin in the beginning, and now I work with 3 different resins, and they all have different, you know, densities, viscosities, like, you know, they all do something different.
Yeah.
They're all equally as amazing. So it's nice to be able to introduce a class to that knowledge and see what they create. And, you know, and some of these creations are impressive. I'm like, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh my goodness. I'm like, I might need to do something like that. You know, you just...
So the teachers learning from the
yes,
student,
yes.
right?
Every single time, I'm definitely impressed with the students' creation. So
nice.
Yeah,
nice. Glad to hear that. Now, have you done any collaborations with any other artists?
Oh my goodness, I'm trying to think. Recently, now you know Olivia Hayward. She makes these earrings, and so. Olivia and I are constantly collaborating. So she actually did a whole line of earrings that resembled an artwork that I did.
Oh.
So it was blue, white, and gold, and she did a whole line of, you know, like Quia Z art earrings by Olivia Hayward. And then most recently, her and I have been getting into adding logos to the trays and the boards, and we've kind of been cranking those out a lot lately. Okay. So because, you know, people, I know you want your logo on your posters.
I do.
Well, the person cutting those logos and creating them is Olivia.
Okay, gotcha.
And so me and her have been teaming up probably like over the past couple of months, creating a lot of, you know, cool things. And, and so we're going to be kind of announcing that soon. Okay. We kind of have a couple of things we've done. So, so I'm excited about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, have you run across any artists that do anything similar to what you do with the resin?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, not really in Tallahassee per se, but oh my goodness, I follow so many resin artists online.
Do you? Okay.
And I've had a lot message me. I message them. You know, some artists aren't like really willing to share their secrets, but some are. Yeah. And you know, it's just. And then of course, you know, when I go to Chain of Parks Art Festival and I come across a resin artist, like, it's the best conversation ever,
Right,
because
of
it's like,
course.
I feel
Yeah.
your pain,
You
and
all
like,
speaking each other's language,
yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you know exactly what I'm doing. So I'm like, how do you do this? How do you deal with resin in the heat? How do you deal with it in the cold? Or, it's very, very finicky.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of store it in different ways according to the temperature, and it takes a lot longer to cure. In the cold, it's crazy. But,
Yeah.
So my online community is amazing.
Nice.
And, I'm able to gain lots of ideas and lots of knowledge and lots of ways to fix things that I've messed up, and it's so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Nice. Now, do you have a lot of your art in your home?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a lot of my art. I have other artists' art. I have a lot of local artists. I have April Fitzpatrick. I have Jim Russell.
Okay.
There's another artist who's already moved out. I have Colette's art in the house.
Okay.
I always buy something from Artopia every year if I go out of town. But my house definitely looks like a gallery.
Okay.
Like, you walk in there and there is like large pieces of art all over the place. I don't have enough walls. Like, that's the only that's the only thing I wish my house had. I'm like, I just need more walls, or I need the walls to be higher, so I can just put more stuff on the walls.
Exactly.
So it's and I have a lot of clients come to the house if they're looking for a particular piece. I do home consults as well, and color matching to their walls and furniture and all that stuff. So
wow.
Wow.
Now, what is art to you?
Oh my gosh. I definitely think when we as people create art, it's an expression of, God's creativity. He's the ultimate creator. And, if you just look at the world and everything in it, he is the ultimate creator. And so I feel, even if you have a small sprinkle of that, then it's your responsibility to do something with it. And so, art to me is kind of expressing to others, God's love for me and his blessings towards me. Nice. That's what art is to me personally.
Nice.
And so it's rewarding to be able to, I say that, I'll create an art piece, but it's also collaboration between me and the client, so it's really about other people and how they feel about the piece. I'm creating it for them, but what does that artwork mean to them? It means something different to everyone. I have a friend who told me that her piece, the piece I created for her, she chose the color, she chose the medium and everything. So it was like we created it together. I just kind of, made it a physical reality, but she dreamt up what she wanted it to look like.
Gotcha.
So it is a collaboration between, the client and I. But she looked at the art and she said, this art reminds me of where I want to be in life, like what I'm striving for.
Nice.
So, everybody looks at it and,
Right.
In a different way,
things,
and sees something different, or makes them feel nostalgic, or makes them remember something, brings up a feeling, or just lifts their mood. It's something different for everyone.
Yeah. Now, do you create pieces for yourself?
I do.
Okay.
I definitely I've created about 2 or 3 pieces this past year just for my home.
Okay.
And sometimes I'm like, okay, like I've had enough of this piece. Now I'll put it for sale, or I'll let people, if somebody has interest in it, then I might sell it. But yeah, there are some pieces that are just mine, and but I tend to, I have lots of my art, but my true pieces, pieces I've gotten from other artists.
Gotcha.
So I love to collect other artists' art, and it's just extra special. And it's just when you're surrounding yourself, I have probably 10 to 12 different artists just in my foyer and living room. And so it's really cool to just see everyone is so different. It's we all create, but everyone comes at it differently, or they're using a different medium, or even the way they wrap their canvas is different. I'm looking behind them, I'm like, how did they
do that?
How did they put this frame on there? Most people are just oh, the art's pretty, and I'm looking behind it and unscrew this so I can see how he did.
Dissecting the art.
Yes,
right?
I'm literally dissecting the art. But yeah, so it's nice to kind of collect and I love that.
Nice. Now, what do you believe is your greater work, which would be kind of the equivalent to your superpower?
You said my greater work?
Your greater work.
Oh gosh. I would say probably the effect that I have on others. I think that, I think it's a blessing to be good at something, and it's a blessing to be, to kind of follow your dreams. But I really think the ultimate goal is to serve others. If you're successful and, you have all these things and you're great at something, but you really haven't had a personal impact with people that you deal with, then what really have you done? And so I think that, for me, the relationships that I have built using my business is my greater work. The conversations I've been able to have with clients or people online that follow me, or tell me their stories, like, oh, my husband just passed, or, I'm buying this for this, and I'm able to kind of go deeper and say, I'll pray for you, like, are you a person of faith? That really is the greater work. Yeah. It's not just selling something. It's, the person will always remember when I bought this from the artist, she offered to pray for me. She actually asked me about myself. Yeah. And we had a human conversation. And so I think really our time here on earth is about others. I mean, it really is. That's really the legacy you leave behind. People will remember, what you did, but they'll also remember the way you treated them and the conversations that they had with you, and the effect that you had on them. So nice. Well, keep doing what you're doing. I will. I definitely will. Look, with God's help and His blessings, I'm gonna keep on going and creating us for as long as I can, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for spending time with me today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm
so excited to finally be here. Yes.
My pleasure. And thank you all for joining us on Conversations with Nicole, where we are connecting the community through conversations.
Manly Manor, an executive suite nestled in Tallahassee's J. Gaither Park, offers a 4-bedroom house with a chef's kitchen and luxurious amenities. It's close to FAMU, FSU, the airport, and the historic J. Gaither Golf Course. Your home, away from home. Book today at manlymanor.com.